Welcome to Season 3 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Craigoff, the choice of champions.
All right, folks, we got to take a quick second and give a huge shout out to our title sponsor, Craigoff. Me and Ricky both shoot them. We both love them.
Yeah, best gun in the industry. I shoot them. I sell them. Nothing better, folks. Get yourself a Craigoff. Your scores will increase.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky's got hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with his. I mean, I've got a few hundreds, but I'm always working to get a little bit better, and they definitely help me, that's for sure. So on top of that, we also got to thank Winnig. I'm wearing the shirt today. Love this shirt. If you're down at the Grand, pick one up.
Yeah, Winnig, like I said, Zach, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds with my Winnig stock. You know, get a hold of Bobby, Luke, Bill, get an appointment set up. They will make you a better shooter with that Winnig stock.
Of course, yeah. The Grand's the great place to do it. Give them a call. Get on their book. It's worth your time.
Just remember, winners shoot Winnigs.
With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Trap Talk. I'm your host, Zach Nannini, where we discuss all things trap shooting related, interviewing the trap shooting greats, and having great conversations. We've got the worldly traveler and my co-host, Richard Marshall Jr.
What's up?
The one and only. Ricky, thanks for taking the time to be here today. But we got someone special today that we've had a lot of requests. A lot of people ask about Mr. Dave Shaeffer, who's a many-time record holder, and he agreed to be on the show, and I'm so excited to have him on today.
Hey,
Absolutely.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you, Dave. I know Ricky usually does the introductions, but
I do.
I've been sitting here talking with Dave a little bit, and I've got a lot of information. So, the biggest accolade that I want to introduce him on is his world record long run of 2166 in singles. This was the same year that he won the clay target. Dave has informed us that not only has he won the clay target, but he's won runner-up in the clay target 2 times. Ricky might have more runner-ups in the clay target than you, Dave, but 4
or 5.
But you got more clay targets, so that's
right.
okay.
You got it. I don't have one.
You've won the all-around and the overall at the Grand, and then as far as other accolades, in your zone, you've won all 5 titles. In your state shoot of Maryland, it looks like you've won 6 singles titles, 5 doubles titles, and the doubles titles were all with different guns. So that's got to be some kind of
a record. Absolutely, yeah.
Won the HAA 7 times, won the HOA at least 8 times, and one thing that I found impressive was he won the singles not only 6 times but 4 in a row from 7, 8, 9, and 10, all with 200s. So 4 years in a row. Won the singles every time with a 200, other than 1 year he said he broke it with a 197, but the weather conditions were completely
that was just
Maryland could be sporty.
Absolutely.
And then in 2024 he finally won the handicap at the Maryland State Shoot to complete his Crown 5 of having all the state championships.
Yep.
So Dave, you've been known as a great shooter for a long time. You definitely have that world record, and another thing that I thought was amazing was the average in that year that you had that long run. You had a 99.76. So, I mean, that was what, 6 or 7 birds on 5,000? Was that the case?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be 7, I think.
7, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yes. So just so people can know that are listening to the show that might not know who Dave Shaeffer is, he's a bad man with a shotgun. He knows how, and you do not want to
Singles.
You do not want to get in his way. If one pipe's on there, he's pretty deadly. Now with 2 pipes, he's pretty good, but I'm not as scared of him as with 1 pipe. 1 pipe, he's a bad man. But welcome to the show, Dave.
Hey, thanks, guys.
So Ricky, I know you've known Dave for so long. I mean, how long have you guys been friends, and how did you guys get together?
I mean, just shooting, Dave, you shot since what, 90, 91?
1990. I fired my first shot. Yeah.
And I started in 88. So Dave's been around.
Time we shot together might have been in Tucson.
Probably
early 2000s. I think it was me, you, Bruce Reed.
Oh God, yeah, had been
going back. It's going
long
back.
Time ago.
It was one of my
first. Shot we did shoot the Champ of Champs together that 1 year at the Grand.
We did.
Remember that? It was hotter than.
Was it hot,
Zach? It was so. It's what 8 in the morning, 8:15, and you're soaked,
soaking wet,
and we're out there, and I'm just like, Man, I shouldn't have drank all that beer last night. But I
Hotter
think
than
we
a
did break.
peppercorn fart.
Yeah, I think we did break hundreds though, and someone's like, "How'd that go this morning?" I was like, "Oh, I got them." They're like, "You guys were at the bar too," and I was like, "Well, gotta make hay when you can make hay."
Gotta
So,
do what you gotta do, right?
I'm so glad you're on the show, Dave, because you're another person that had hundreds and hundreds of hundreds.
Yeah, it
so
did.
It's
Okay,
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds, yeah.
hundreds
Well-
and hundreds and hundreds like Ricky's got. But
I like
you know,
breaking
that's-
hundreds. That's
Dave,
I
I'm
know
going to
you
show
do.
you something. So I just did a clinic in Indiana, and one of my students
Mhm.
that Zach might know, I'm not going to mention his name. He's from the St. Louis area. He shoots at Bunker Hill, but he said, "Hey, I got you something." And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "I got you something for your Can-Am." So he got me this license plate. And I
Wow,
started
look at
laughing.
that.
Okay, now listen. So he goes, I go, "Oh, that's cool." You know, he goes, "Well, I didn't want Zach to feel left out." So he got
You
Zach
got me
one
200.
200. And I started
I said
laughing.
that's messed up. And then I had to call Ricky and I
That's
said, you know,
hilarious.
I don't know if I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, but I got over 100 of them. I mean, at least. I mean, I said I can count them up. They're there. I mean,
That's
we got
great.
them.
Oh, but it was so funny. These guys, you know, everybody loves the podcast and the stuff, you know, just bantering back and forth. And it was so funny. He's like, "I got these." I said, "Where'd you get these?" He goes, "Etsy."
That's
Okay.
Got
messed
it
up.
made online. So it was funny.
So moving on, getting back to Dave. Dave,
That's
I want
right.
to know how you got into the sport and why you love it so much.
Well, my dad, he got me into it in 1990 after church. He said one day, "Let's go out and shoot." Something he did back in the 70s, and he gave up when I was born. And gosh, I was 10, 11, but I was always a big guy, big kid. So that's how we started. After church, we went out and shot 50. That was it, 50 birds for maybe a year, and then we went on a little bit more with ATA and then winter leagues. Yep.
Well, so started off young, family sport. Dad kind of integrated you,
Yep.
and I know you said you won some junior titles early on. You know, 3 singles junior titles in Maryland. So you were obviously an impressive shot right off the bat. You know, how long did it take from when you started until you had a grasp of, you know, hey, I can do this. I feel like I'm a good shooter. I feel like I compete. I feel like I can win.
Well, let's see. I made my first junior All-American team in 93. So I guess
Okay.
that'd be 3 years. And I mean, I think I made last place on it, but hey, that's 3 years.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at that point you were competitive. You were starting to say,
Yeah,
okay, I
understood.
can win. I feel good about this. I can compete.
Yep. I was running around with my 870 and I was ready to shoot.
Was that what you shot back then?
Yeah, that's what I started with, a Remington 870. Yep.
Did you break your first 100 with that?
Broke my first 100 with it. Ended up with a
Did you-
198 that day. That's when I won
Wow.
the Maryland State Juniors title. My first
So you
time.
just went out there with the Shuck-O-Matic 870, the old Remington Master, and just
Oh, yeah.
just blasted those juniors, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
That's
Maryland,
nice. Well-
Maryland had some tough juniors back then.
Yeah.
So
Every state, it seemed like Maryland, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Nebraska, we had in Colorado. It was like just an influx of the kids. I mean, you know, we didn't break the scores like some of them do now, but also the guns we shot back then weren't the same that,
right.
you know, the kids were shooting now.
Neither was the ammo. So
The ammo, absolutely. Yeah, you
and
had
we were
the
shooting and we
different
were
ammo.
shooting on button pulls instead
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
voice calls.
Hand pulls.
Yeah.
Makes
Button
a huge
pull,
difference.
3-hole,
Yep.
and
3-hole,
on top of that, an 870. You know, and that just like, I want to take a moment to recognize, I mean, how tough you are to be in a position where you're just like, you give this guy a broomstick, he's going to learn, he's going to shoot it. Right. And most
right.
people, I mean, a lot of people, they have the, you know, the correct stock, the correct, you know, rib pattern, the correct point of impact, and all these things. And I think people generally wrap their head around like how important all this stuff is, and not to discount that it's not important, but at the end of the day, like, you can shoot anything if you know you know how to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you give a good shooter a gun and make it shoot where he's looking, and he can he can win some stuff.
Zach, what did you start with?
I started with an 1100.
See,
Well, there you go.
I broke my first 25 straight with an 1100.
Remington.
I tried to explain
Remington 1100 was my first 25. It was my first 50.
Okay.
And then I went into something called at the time it was a Maruku, but it was a Charles Daly Browning import. It was a Broadway gun that I shot, and that's what I broke my first 100 straight in Kingsburg Gun Club with. And then, the 200 was with a Ludic. So it took me a while to get that. I wasn't like a Dave Shaeffer where singles were scared of my name. It took me many moons.
Dave, we've never included Zach as a singles specialist.
No,
okay?
I know.
Let's just go there right now.
When I was shooting my best singles, I always used to say there's no reason to miss a singles target.
Yeah.
I
tell you, you're right. You're absolutely right. And talking about that, Dave, because on your long run, I mean, that's a huge deal for everybody out there, all the listeners and people watch the show. 2166. Now, I've been fortunate to run over 1,000 only a couple times in my career, but you shot all over during that run.
Correct.
I mean, and that's the one thing. It wasn't like you just sat at your own little home club and banged out singles targets.
Right. I shot that 2166 is something I'm very, very, very proud of. And
absolutely.
It started at the Pennsylvania State Shoot, and we went all the way. Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, New York, back to Pennsylvania, and then into the Grand, and then
you're forgetting New Jersey. New Jersey. That's where it started. It looks you had I'm looking at his scores right here, Zach. If my iPhone will come.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I missed one on the first 100 at the Pennsylvania State.
Well, New York State.
Was it
New York? You had a 198, and then Jersey, you broke a 200. No, I take that back. There was a 99 in there. Hold on a second. So, PA, you broke 200. And I think,
it's been so long since I've looked.
Yeah, wait.
Looked at the
records. It was 2011?
No, it was 2009.
09.
PA, Maryland, Virginia, New York, Valley Gun Club, and the Grand. And then it looks like you missed at the Cardinal Center.
Cardinal, yeah. Yeah, I was shooting with Kay that day, and he doesn't usually show much emotion when you shoot. And
but let's not discount something here either,
yeah.
Dave. So you broke at the Grand that year. You broke the 100 in one of the handicaps during that long run.
Yeah.
That was the Remington handicap, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
Nitro 27.
Nitro 20. I remember that because you were shooting nitros.
And the year before, I missed the same event. I missed my 100th target for a 99.
99. Yes, I do remember that.
I'm glad you didn't do it 2 years in a row.
Oh, believe me. Hey, when it came back to me, everybody, the whole squad was because I was shooting with the same guys. Everybody was looking at me. Yeah, they were all like this, and I just smiled at them and called for the target and smashed it.
So I want to circle back. I know you said Kay wasn't emotional ever on the squad. Did he get emotional that day?
He looked over at me and smiled. Me and smiled. And you know what? And I could have probably kept that streak going if I hadn't shot that day because the Cardinal was sorry.
I remember that.
The weather was bad. It was windy. It was raining. Thunderstorms. But I wanted to.
You weren't concerned with it. You were just shooting.
Yeah, I was shooting. Kay asked me to shoot with him. I'm going to shoot. You know what I mean? You don't get that very often.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just amazing that you weren't, you were in that position. And I think there's so many other trap shooters that might have been, well, I want to see how long I can go, and then maybe start to, bluebird it, or honey pick, or they end up at Spanish Fort with their calculator. It's just the different things that you could do.
You went there.
You know, you just go, you know, and it's like you gotta decide at some point in time, you know, what are you trying to do?
Right.
You wanna do it the right way. And I think the essence of what you did was doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
You did. Like, I mean, listen. Yeah.
And it wasn't far in. It was like maybe the first or second post. And so it was over pretty quick.
Well, hey, you know what? Sometimes it's over fast. Hey, Trop Talk listeners, let's take a quick second to thank a couple more amazing sponsors. SOS Clay's Shoot Management. They're doing a fantastic job. I love the app. I love being able to see everything on my phone instantaneously. It's freaking awesome. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, Greg Pink and his group over there. I mean, they've got majority of the satellite grands, majority of the state shoots. I think it's 40 plus state shoots they're doing. But the app, honestly, we were doing a little beta testing with that at the Spring Grand. It's awesome. You can see your squad if they paid. You know, you can see your options, your payouts. The whole works at your fingertips. Great deal. They're just
Ricky knew how much money he made before he even got off the line. He was like, hey, I'm buying lunch. I'm like, yeah, good job. We're good to go.
That's
we
right.
also got gun and trophy insurance. I mean, they're the best in the business. I know they're great price. Ricky, you're familiar with them, right?
Yeah, Cole and Larry Cushman been long-time supporters of myself, and I've been a supporter of them, and, you know, especially with my college team. You know, we require insurance. It's so fast and easy to sign up and get your insurance in literally 10 minutes. You can have your guns insured, and they're just great. They're great to deal with. Like I said, you can do your trophies also, you know, your wildlife animals and that such, and your guns. It's just a great
It's always good when you're traveling around to have that peace of mind and know that you don't have to worry about losing your stuff forever. And these are expensive things, especially when you got those Craig-offs. You got to keep them insured. Hey, Trap Talk listeners, we got to take a real quick break, and we got to thank Ron Prescott from Mid-State Precious Metals for everything they do for the trap shooting community, coast to coast, for all your gold and silver buying needs. And on top of that, new announcement, they're a sponsor of the 126th Grand American.
Finally, he said it right, folks. Grand American. Yeah, Ron is a great guy. He's a sponsor of the Backfence Shootout at Nevada State Shoot and Ohio State Shoot. And also, we got our gold for our Trap Talk event at Nevada State Shoot. And the 77th annual Nevada State Shoot, they bought all theirs from him. 680 ounces of silver to be exact, folks. You're missing out if you're not there.
That's a lot of silver. And honestly, if you're not buying from Ron, you're probably overpaying. So whether you're buying it for your gun clubs or your shoots or for your personal use, you got to give them a try because they're big supporters of the Trap Shooting Nation. So it's awesome. All right, Trap Talk listeners, let's take a couple seconds and thank a couple more sponsors. First of all, Remington's been with us since day one. I've been shooting these shells since 2007. I shoot the Nitro 27 from the 27-yard line, ounce and eighth, 7.5, and STS ounce and eighths for singles and doubles. They've worked great for me, as they do a lot of top shooters all around the country. Give them a try. Don't forget the gun club line when you're practicing and you're wanting to save a little bit of money.
We'd also like to thank another sponsor, Outlaw Engineering. Randy Freston, R2. I've known Randy since 1988. They do engineering, surveying, drafting, GIS, civil, structural, land development, wetland permitting. They do it all.
And they're friends of trap shooters. I mean, they're a trap shooting family. They've been in the ATA forever. His dad's been involved. They're involved. They're a beautiful family. They're great people. And we just love that they listen to the show, and we love that they support Trap Talk.
Yeah, his dad was past president in 1989. So I really want to thank those guys for the support.
All right, folks, we got to take a real quick break and acknowledge the official target of the ATA, White Flyer. They've been sponsoring us since the beginning, and they make a great target. What do you think, Rick?
It's the best target in the ATA. Shout out to everybody there, all the reps, you know, Bill Daniels, Josh Taylor, Nick Arnold, Robert Crow, everything they do for the sport and all the shoots. Really appreciate it.
They're always there. They're always trying to make a better target, and they're always supporting the game that we love so much. With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
You know, we could talk, just going into this a little bit more detail. Did you ever think you were going to go on a run like this when it started? And like, when did it start becoming like, okay, you know, the thoughts are coming in your brain and you're, you know, thinking about a record? Like, what, you know, walk us through that year in your mind.
So I don't think anybody really plans on breaking 2,166. So it kind of just starts, shooting good, breaking singles. And I didn't realize it until I was at the Grand that I was really on a run. Like, I really didn't realize it. And I was heading out to a shoot-off one night, and Leo come over, and he says, you're really on a run, aren't you? Something like 12, 13, 1,400 straight. And I'm like, really? I knew I was deep, but, I wasn't counting the targets.
Yeah.
I just kept.
So during that time,
Mm-hmm.
so after that happened, after, Big L said that to you, did you then start like, maybe I can break the record, or what is the record, or what, because I know the record, they've said it was this and they said it's that. And no one really, we know that you have the record.
I didn't even really know what the record really was, but I've hit 1,000 a couple times before that. And I always loved singles. I didn't I didn't never really like doubles very much. Handicap was okay, but I loved singles. I like to watch them smoke. And I always, even as a little kid, I used to dream about breaking more singles than anybody. I pretty much devoted my life to this sport, and even as a kid, I remember with the 870, I'd be in the mirror pretending I was at the Grand. I just smoked 1,200 straight in the high overall. You know what I mean? That's just, it's just one of those things, like people say, don't give up on your dream. That was kind of a dream of mine to break more singles than anybody. Not that I ever really tried, but I just would have liked to done it because I liked them so much.
Well,
it's just it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, Dave. It's just like, my coach and mentor, Frank Hoppe, used to tell me when we would travel all over the world together, he'd say, listen, when you go to sleep tonight over in that bed, he goes, you need to go to sleep, close your eyes, and dream about breaking targets.
You're absolutely right.
And he'd say that. He said, instead of counting the sheep, you need to count them targets, smoking each target. And I tell some people that sometimes, and they're like, well, why? And I said, because it's 90 to 95% right there.
Definitely.
In between the ears.
That's why you can break the singles, because singles is the most demanding. It's like, I shoot all the disciplines, and Zach shoots some too. But, some of the guys like, I don't see how you guys can stand out there and shoot 200 straight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's right here. It's repetition. That's what it is.
Repetition.
Like Southern Grand this year, it was, windy during the singles.
Oh.
I'm standing there and I broke 200, but I'm watching Tyler, my son. He broke a pair of 99s, and I knew that might be pretty good for the junior title, and he ended up tying and winning the shoot-off such. But I kept with him. I'm like, son, I said, just do what I'm doing. And I kept telling myself, don't miss, because if you do, he's going to miss.
Yeah.
Because he's going to think about me. So I'm just like, and it's all right here. If you,
for
all our listeners out there, keep it upstairs, good, you're fine.
If you can get past the thinking part of it,
and with you, with all this singles long run, so when you did miss, did you have that relief of like, okay, now let's get back to business?
Yeah, pretty much. Let's party. It's over. I remember we went up and smoked some sausages the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I don't even think I shot handicap that day because the storm came through.
I remember that. I was there, and I remember because, people kept saying, Zach, and this is no crap there. People are like, I can't believe Schaeffer shot. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, the weather, why would he? And I said, guys, he's here to shoot. I said, he didn't break the 21 or 2,000 straight, however many it was at first, that, because no one really kind of knew. They just said you're around 2,000 straight. I said, it isn't like he sat in PA or Maryland and just shot. He just got done breaking all the singles at the Grand.
Right.
I'm like,
you were just on one and you were locked in and it was going.
That's right.
So, to go back to the Grand, circling back to that, you go and you hit all the singles, then you finish with the 200 in the clay target, right?
Yep.
So now in your mind, and that was the year that you won the ring,
Yeah.
In your mind, did that put more pressure on it, knowing that you were that many straight, or were you like, this is my year for singles and nobody's taking me out? Like, what was your mentality going into the clay target?
So I wanted the clay target ring bad, really bad, ever since '04, I think, is when I was my first runner up when Gooch beat me. You know, that's when it actually sunk in that, hey, this could be a reality. You know what I mean? I could actually win one of these one day. And
so you were laser focused on, I want to win this thing.
Yeah. After that first runner up that I won, I wanted a ring bad.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the pain. Trust me.
You'll get it.
What are you saying, Zach?
You're not speaking to someone that doesn't understand how that feels. Okay. And I never got well, I guess I did get second once. I got second to in the all around. But never in the clay target.
Yeah, hey, listen, you got second in the all around. The guy that beat you broke a 4x4.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? I want to take a second and acknowledge that. Okay, I go out and break a 394 out of 400. I'm feeling like and this I don't mean to take the spotlight off you, Dave, but I'm walking in the clubhouse like I'm 6.5 feet tall, and just strutting like a peacock, 394, hey, got this thing. And, old Dagan Voigtman, he throws a 400 on me like it's nothing. I mean, I end up with a shoot off with Keith Ditto and Derek Mine, and I end up winning the damn thing. But like nobody even knows I'm there. They're just like, six birds away from champion.
Yeah.
And it's the closest I ever get to a ring.
Dagan didn't even have to shoot the last post and he had one. I mean, it's clean.
That is, if you're going to lose, I guess that's how you got to lose, right?
That's right.
But Dave,
that's still good shooting.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I'm surrounded by two legends right now today, so I've got to be a little bit more humble. All right, folks, we got to take a quick second and give a shout out to the Cardinal Center in Marengo, Ohio. They hold the Cardinal Classic, and they also hold the Ohio State Shoot, which is home of the first back fence shootout. Ricky, what do you think about Ohio?
Listen, I love the Cardinal Center. I actually broke the first 100 from the 27 there at their very first shoot ever. Great place, Jake Spangler and their whole clan there. They do an awesome job at running the shoots. The Ohio State shoots ran by the Ohio State Association. The Cardinal Classic's right after the Grand, so if you're looking for some more points right after the Grand, hit that up so you can get a little more points than old Zach here. But listen, it's a great shoot. Great facility.
It really is. I personally love the RVs. They've got great camping there. They've got a great time, good shoot, good target presentation. Go check it out. It's worth putting on your list. With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
But you've got so much accolade. You've got so much ability. Do you attribute that more to hard work and practice, or do you attribute that to natural talent? Like what did you do to become the Dave Schaeffer that's the world record holder?
I worked hard. I shot a lot of practice. You have to want it. You have to you have to want to win, and it's pretty much all I ever did. I didn't do anything else fun. Didn't play ball. Didn't do anything else. But you have to work hard. You have to work hard to do it. And about the natural, you have natural shooters and you have not natural shooters. And I feel I'm natural shooter to a point. If I don't shoot for 6-8 weeks, you can tell. But I'm also not a practice shooter anymore. I don't shoot any practice anymore. Hardly at all. Maybe if a couple guys want to go out and shoot.
Well, Dave, I can say at Florida in the handicap, you shot right in front of us and broke 98. And that's what gave Joey and I a little oomph. I was like, damn, he just broke 98. And Joey looked at me and we were both down 1. Or I was down 2, actually. Or no, I was down 1. And then, or 2, whatever. And anyways, I run that and I was like, I'm going to tie him. And Joey's like, I'm going to break 99. And then we got to the last trap. I missed right away. But when you came off there, it was, we watched you shoot. And I even said it. You were just seeing it, shooting it. You know,
You had to.
no, you had to. Absolutely. There was no like, oh, let me look at it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Not only are you, you know, a legendary single shooter, you know, I mean, you own the long run, but also you've broke multiple hundreds in handicap.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, I've had 5.
Yeah. Well, you're almost double what Zach has.
Yeah. Hey, almost.
You know, just
get to 6. That's okay.
get to
He'll get there. He'll get there. He'll get there. I mean, it's Dave Shaeffer. I mean, I have no doubt believing that in my heart. He's banging them up.
How many hundreds and doubles do you have, Dave?
I don't know. I'd say probably 15, maybe.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I'm probably wrong by a few, but somewhere around
that's
there.
all right.
I never shot a lot of doubles. No. I never enjoyed them. I mean, I did to a point, but they can ruin your day.
You were more concerned with the singles.
Right.
And I get that. I totally understand that. For all the listeners out there, I mean, that's one thing. He devoted his time to just master singles. And I say that lightly because we never master anything because no one's ever had 100% average out of a legit 4,000 or 5,000 targets. I know there's been some people out there.
99.76 is pretty damn close.
That's pretty salty.
That's a stinky number. I don't know how to.
Yeah, I wonder
put
today
that in your
how
calculator.
You know, it's
because what would it have been though, Dave? Because the long run was Alan Fiera, which you know had a 99.83, right, Zach?
I believe so.
99.83.
So
if you wouldn't have missed one, I think you might have got there. But you had 5,000 singles. He only had like 3,000, I think.
3,000, I think. But
it was a lot lower number. It was a couple thousand lighter,
but,
and
I
believe he had it until that event with that 99.
Yeah, because we
could go back and run the plates on this. I bet Ricky could do the math really quick in his head. But
see, back then I wasn't more worried. I wasn't really more worried about the streak. I was also chasing points. That was a big thing for me too. Points. You know, I could get points in singles so easy. You know.
Yeah, you just walk on and get them every day. I mean, and everywhere I'd look, I'd see your name on the board with a blinker. I mean, it was that red score every day. Boom, boom, boom. Schaefer. I'm like, this guy keeps pounding these hundreds and singles. I said, the guy don't miss them. It's like he's eating them. I mean, I didn't know what to think about it, but it was just impressive that you didn't ever get in your own head. You weren't like worried about it. You weren't like, oh, these are, I'm going to miss one here and there. I mean, you pretty much just, I've watched you. I've seen your mannerisms. You pretty much expected to run 100 every time you went out. I mean, you didn't look like you were like, when you missed one, you're like, oh, I didn't think I was going to miss one today.
Yeah.
So I think that's a powerful mindset to have.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right, folks, we got to take another quick break and thank one of our show sponsors, 73 Pointers Ranch, Jonesburg, Missouri, Rick and Carla Burke. Best place in the area to go shoot chuckers and pheasants and have a great time. Rick, we got to get you down there.
Yeah, I need to come in. Hopefully I can do some hunting with you guys and come to your the annual clay shoot in August right after the Grand.
It's a lot of fun. It's the Optimist Club charity shoot. They throw a charity shoot. They put it on, and it's wonderful. I think last year they had over 100 entries into it, and it's just a good time. With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
Anytime I go out there, my mindset's to break every target.
I like that.
What do you attest a lot of that to, Dave? I mean, is it the Terry Jordan wall chart behind you?
Yeah, probably. You know, that thing's a lifesaver. That Terry Jordan wall chart, that kind of kept me strength when I was going through cancer.
That's the other thing. You know, we'll talk about. You brought that up. I know you were sick there for, what was it, 2 years ago when you were first diagnosed?
It was going into 3 years ago now.
3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, what were you diagnosed with?
So I had testicular cancer. Just something came on, and I knew things weren't right, and I was scared to go to the doctors, and I went to the doctors finally, and it was a little late. They've done it. The cancer got into my lymph nodes, and so we had and real extensive chemotherapy. It was pretty ugly stuff. It was 4 months solid chemo, 3 weeks of it, and I'd have a week off. Yeah, They were all day.
That's horrible to hear, Dave. I'm sorry you went through that.
Treatments. Yeah, it knocked me for a loop. I don't know how old people do it, because I was 40. I was 42, 43, no, 45, and whew, man, that's something hope I never have to ever go through.
So you got a clean bill of health now, or?
Right now, yep. I have to go get a scan next week, and I see my doctor, and that'll be the last every 6 months, and then we're going to move to every yearly until unless I feel something come up or something doesn't seem right. But yeah, no, I feel great.
So during that time, I mean, you couldn't shoot much, I take it.
Shot.
I know you shot a little bit there, but just handicaps at times.
I broke 100 handicap 3 weeks after my last chemo treatment at the Grand.
No kidding.
That was the what was it? What's the
President's handicap?
No, it was the one Wednesdays.
Oh,
Challenger handicap.
Challenger. Yeah.
Yep. It was a Challenger handicap. And, I don't even know how I did that. That was, I was able to shoot maybe 100 targets on the weekends. My girlfriend, Christy, she helped me out tremendously, getting me to the line. And I didn't shoot many singles, but I actually shot. If you look at the average, I think I had the highest handicap average of my life the year I was on chemo.
Really?
I don't know how that ever worked out. I think I had maybe a 94. 94, I have the thing here.
94.38.
Yeah, 94.38. And with
5,600. Well, you're actually, Dave, your highest singles average.
Or handicap, you mean?
Or handicap average, was a 94.84. That was an 07.
Nope, there's a 94.97. In 11, so yeah, but I was up there, and that was.
Yep. That's still pretty good being on chemo, because I know I had my brother-in-law that passed this past year, Jody's twin. He was on chemo years ago, and it was a rough deal.
Yeah,
it tears you up and does bad things to your brain.
Sure.
You can get chemo brain, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I deal with that. I deal with that. But it just could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here. And we're glad you're better.
I would come home from treatment. My sister would pick me up about 8:00. I'd go, it'd take about 6 hours. I'd come home and force myself. I would stand back there and I would work on this chart at least 10 times. I would lift that gun 10 times. 10 times. Yeah. If I could do it more. And then if I would get up to go to the restroom, I'd do it a couple more times. I mean, that's what I live for, shooting me through it.
All right, folks, we need to take a quick second and get to a new show sponsor, Big Red Motorsports. Big Red, they're personal friends of mine, Jason and George Lee, and they're also a personal sponsor of mine.
Now, I'll say this. Ricky looked great driving around in that side-by-side. I got some free rides down at Tucson, the Autumn Grand. I think it's awesome that they deliver all across the country, and obviously they love trap shooters, they love trap shooting, and they're doing a great job.
Listen, they got Can-Am, Kawasaki, CF Moto, Triton trailers. Hit them up. We'll take care of you guys. With that being said,
let's get to the show. We're so glad you're here, and we're so glad you got through it. And
yes,
hey, God must have had his watched you and got you through that, because that was a
absolutely.
That's got to be the hardest time of your life, huh?
That was absolutely the hardest time of my life. Gosh, I hope I never have to go through it again.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
so on a brighter note,
that's right.
Let's get back to your abilities. We kind of glanced over, and I want to circle back. We were talking about your training, and we were talking about how you work really hard and believe in working really, really hard. When you say that, were you trying a lot of different things when you were practicing, or were you more like, I want to do perfect practice when I practice? Like, were you like, okay, I'm going to do high hold gun, I'm going to do low, I'm going to do all these different methodologies, or were you just like, this is how I do it, and I'm going to just continually just, work this out until it's perfect?
Yeah,
because you hold a high gun.
So I naturally hold a high gun. I can shoot anyway. I can put it down like Sunday in Florida. If you held a high gun, you'd be in trouble.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier, and it slipped my mind was, watching you normally, you just mount the gun. You typically hold a higher gun. Yeah, that's just your mount. But I noticed that on Sunday, because I was standing right behind you, you were finishing, and you'd mount that gun and whoop right down on the house.
I was
whack.
Yeah, I was buried on the house, on the lid.
Yeah, you were in it. I was watching you on post 5, and your gun was inside the lid, down on that house on post 5, so that you could see that thing come leaking out the side. I mean, I was like, is that Dave Shaeffer or Ricky Marshall Jr.? I'm like, that guy's low.
When you have days like that, you got to be able to shoot anyway. If you have them high targets. I have a problem holding low and then going up to high. So I kind of go by what the guy next to me, not that it's guaranteed, but I'm watching every target, and that's kind of setting me up for my next shot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your hold points then. So so when you say high hold point, if it's a normal day, it's at the Grand, the weather's clean, blue bird, we don't have any issues. How many feet above the house are you in singles? How many feet are you above the house in handicap, and how many feet are you above the house in doubles?
So I don't like to change between singles and handicap at all. I mean, I could probably show you, like on a good day.
Yeah,
I'd be right up in here on a nice hot day. I'd kind of split my difference between the house and the target.
So I would say that's about 4 feet, right? I mean, would you say that's about 4 foot above the house?
Yeah, it could be. Maybe 3.
3. I was going to say about 3
Probably
feet.
3, yeah. Probably.
And so in that scenario, 3 feet, are you
Where are
waiting
you looking?
Are you waiting for the target to beat your gun, or are you moving out with the flash, or kind of what is your technique to share with the listeners so they can learn how to shoot like Dave Shaeffer?
Sure. So when I'm holding a high gun, I'm looking through my gun. I'm always looking around here where the target's coming out of the house, whether I'm holding a high gun or whether I'm down on the house. I'm looking where it's coming out. So you know where to go.
Okay.
If you're holding a high gun and you're looking out, you don't know where you don't know where where to go,
So you're just looking around the barrel,
kind
of, so to speak.
Correct. Looking through it,
just
and
like Leo used to do.
And then on the corners, I'm shifting my eyes in a little bit, but I'm always down here looking for it to come out.
So is that a trap method where you're basically staying ahead of the target the whole time as you're looking and trapping it before it gets to the barrel, or are you letting it pass and then chasing it down, kind of like me and Ricky, where you're swinging through it?
No, I try to stay on the front edge of it the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wherever you're at, you see movement, and you're always staying on the front with that gun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it there, and hopefully it doesn't even beat your barrel ever, is what you're saying. You just are on the front edge. Now with that type of method, how high of a point of impact are you shooting?
I'm shooting about 110.
Okay,
so not bad.
Yeah, about 110. And then my doubles gun. That's just a standard stock Browning. It's probably shooting 80, maybe. Well, I got it jacked up a little bit, but I don't like it.
And you won 5 titles with 5 different guns, so we don't know what they all shot.
We don't know. Yeah, you could be an 870 to a silver size. I mean,
The one wasn't even my gun. I didn't even have a doubles gun. I borrowed it.
I said, "Let me borrow this piece and go win a title."
It was a Beretta. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. That's
just
funny.
A one-time use, like a throwaway gun, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, hey, I never had a lot of money when I was younger. So when I got in a pinch, first thing got sold was a double gun. That's why I never put a lot of money into double guns.
If we needed some entry fees, we sell the over-unders. We're winning singles and handicaps. We're not winning overalls all around.
There you go.
win a few handicaps, buy the over/under back, bam, we're back in the all around. I mean, that's dedicated to the
That's
game.
a good analogy.
I like that. I'd go broke if I sold that over/under too fast. I wouldn't get it in the handicap and the singles. I'd be like, oh, where's my over/under?
Yeah,
I need that thing.
You know, I'm learning to like doubles again. I bought a new Browning, and it fits me real good, and I've been shooting them pretty good the past 2 years with it. So I think I might make a run for the team next year. I don't think I'm going to do it this year, but maybe next year. If I make it this year, it'd be luck, because
even better.
You never know. It's never. I
got to fight to shoot singles again. You know what I mean? Like my heart used to be with singles.
Yeah.
My heart's kind of with handicap now. You know, and yeah.
You can't go against your heart. You gotta follow what's true to you. And you know what? Maybe start banging handicaps and you go on a long run. 505. I hear that Darrow Handy guy's got that. So
I witnessed that whole record too.
Wow.
I was at Spanish Fork. He was at Spanish Fork. He missed on the first post at Spanish Fork. He run 495 and he run 10 straight in Vandalia. And I was standing there. We watched him shoot, and he missed on I think it was the third post or whatever it was. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And he crushed targets there.
Those guys back then, they were just a different breed, man. They were.
Well, you got to remember that was hand pulls too.
Yeah, hand pulls. Yeah. Was he shooting 1100?
Yes.
Yeah. High rib 1100.
The high rib. Yeah.
High rib 1100, high point of impact. And being from the West Coast, I got the pleasure of spending some serious time with Darrow. I got to shoot the Grand Pacific with him for a few years, and I even shot my first Grand in Sparta on Bank 5. I shot the whole thing with Darrow Handy. And it was a great experience. I mean, just cool. Those cowboy boots he used to always, and it didn't matter how hot it was. It was funny because it was like 105 degrees out, and I see Darrow walking, and he's got cowboy boots, the darkest blue leather, the darkest blue jeans I've ever seen, a button-down shirt that was like a thick cotton with an undershirt, and then he had a vest on top, and then he had the big old Darrow Handy cap with the blinders, and I'm telling you, I said, Darrow, there's no way. I said, I was sweating and dying, and just a little, nothing.
Dave, Zach and I, if we went to the Antarctic, he'd sweat.
Oh God, I set that hotel AC at 60, and I'm like, just give it to me. I want it cold. But it's Darrow. He's a legend. I mean, I'd love to have him on the show sometime. I don't know where he's at nowadays, and how he's doing. But if anybody's out there got a hold of Darrow and you want to get him to hop on Trap Talk, I think that would be a good thing to do.
Hear that.
All right, Trap Talk listeners, we got to take a quick break, and we got to welcome a new sponsor to the show, RGS Bore Stripper. It's a great product. Ricky, tell them how they can find it.
Go to their website, rgsguncleaner.com. You can get the 1 8-ounce bottle, free shipping, 2 8-ounce bottle, and you get the 2-ounce travel bottle, and it's free shipping also, or just get the little 2-ounce bottle for travel.
Yeah, they sent me some of this product, and I used it on my Krieghoff choke tubes the other day, and it got the plastic out like in a minute, and it was super cool and super good. So if you like cleaning your gun, you like eliminating plastic, and you like shiny bores, give them a try for sure. Thank you so much for supporting the show.
Yeah, we'd really like to thank John Weber, the owner, for the support. He's doing an awesome job.
Yeah, we really want to thank John. We appreciate the support of the show. Anybody that supports Trap Talk, you guys need to support them and get this stuff because it's awesome.
And with that, let's get back to the show.
So Dave, we talked about your point of impact. We talked about your hold points. We talked about your work ethic. I think overall, I'm hearing that you wanted to win. You wanted to be a winner. You believed in your mind that you could do it. You never had doubts that you were going to ever miss a target. You just had this very strong, winning attitude. And that was probably the catalyst for a lot of your major success.
Sure. It's a passion. For me.
Yeah. It was your dream. Like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That sums it up right there. It was, it's a dream, and I can't wait because I'm not done yet.
No, you're not. You're not.
Huh?
You're not done yet.
No.
So for the listeners today that are trying to get better, maybe newer shooters or maybe shooters that are trying to make the All-American team for the first time, what's some advice or some practical help that you would give to someone, trying to get better and trying to motivate themselves?
Make sure your gun fits. That's the biggest thing. If the gun doesn't fit, you're blowing smoke. I mean, literally. The gun's got to fit you, or you're going to get beat up. There's a lot of, you get a good coach, to find out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and just keep shooting and listen to what people tell you. Learn to sort the bullshit from the truth, And you should be pretty good. A lot of practice, but that's pretty much what it takes. And the drive, you got to have the drive for it. If you don't have the drive,
look at you, Zach. Look at you. I mean, you've had literally since COVID, you've had the drive to make the All-American team and such. So you understand that. I mean,
you have to want it,
you have to
want it.
It's a lot of work. That's right.
And there was a time when I was young where I did it and I wanted it, but then after I wanted it and got it, I didn't want it anymore. I was just and you got to a point where I actually missed it. I'm just like, you know what? I can do this. And I know what Dave's saying about losing that fire in singles, because if you don't have that, I want to do it or I want to kill it, and it's not a priority to you, it's so easy to let one slip or let two slip and just be like, you know what? It's okay. What do I have to prove? And for you, Dave, you ain't got nothing to prove to anybody. I mean, you're a world record holder. You've got 3
world
rings.
Champion.
World champion. I mean, you've got nothing to prove. And I think sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but sometimes when you don't have anything to prove, it's that much harder to kind of bring it back out sometimes if you're not hungry and you're not under that.
You got to stay hungry. Like, I might not have anything to prove to you guys or anybody else, but me, I got a lot to prove.
Absolutely.
To myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fact.
Right.
Every day.
Yeah, I got 2 more rings that I'm going to win eventually if I ever decide to go to the Grand.
Handicapping doubles, baby.
Handicapping doubles. That's why I'm hammering down on the doubles. I'd like to win the doubles ring. Yeah,
that's a great goal to have. It's amazing that at this stage in your life, you're like, I got goals, and we just like,
you have to have goals.
You want to win them,
right?
I tell every student. That's right. Every student of mine, I tell them, set goals. You got your short term, your long term, your bucket list goals. And if you don't have those, what are you actually doing?
Right.
You're blowing smoke.
Like winning the Maryland State Handicap and the Eastern Zone doubles this past year completed. They were bucket lists that I've been trying to do for a long time, and finally got them done. So on to something else.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's you've had a phenomenal shooting career. We know you're still a dominant force when you show up. I mean, we see you on the leaderboard. You're always winning, and always putting your best foot forward to be a competitor.
Yep.
And I hope that fire gets back in you, and maybe we could see you beat that long run record. Maybe you go a little longer than the 2166. Well,
man, I don't know. That was a long time ago. I tell you, things really change through the years. I guess your eyes and your reflexes and because singles just aren't as easy to break as they used to be.
Yeah. All right, Trap Talk listeners, we got to take a real quick break, and I've got something that I'm so excited to announce. Trapshooting USA has now become the official magazine of the Trap Talk podcast.
No, it's not only Trapshooting USA now. It's Wing and Clay Life, Lady Outdoor Lifestyles, and Clay Shooting USA.
I'm just really excited because they make such a high-quality magazine. I mean, if you guys haven't had these magazines and you actually get to touch them in your hands, they've got really thick paper, they're really glossy, and they keep it really cool. I mean, I just love it.
The Traveling Gunsmith, and then in this newest episode, we have...
Oh, man. Look at those handsome guys. I love this. I love it. So also on top of that, Outdoor Pursuits Media, Matt, he's decided that he's going to give away a shotgun at the Grand American this year at our live podcast studio. If you weren't there last year, you missed out. You need to be there this year. It's going to be great. The only thing you have to do is either renew or subscribe to any one of these magazines, and you're going to be in for the drawing for the gun. And we're going to have all that information in the future. Just look out for it, and we'll keep you updated for sure.
With that, let's get back to the show.
Is there anything we're missing out of Dave today? I mean, is there any other questions that we didn't ask that we need to ask while he's here?
I mean, honestly, I think we've covered so much, on his shooting, his technique, the goals he has. I mean, and like I said, people, you got to have the goals. I mean, we still have them. We're both world champions, and we still have goals.
Sure.
And that's one of the most important things is to set them goals. So,
Absolutely.
no, I think we're good. I mean, unless you're thinking of anything, Zach.
Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners, Dave, before we get out of here? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Oh, of course. I'd like to thank you guys, first off, for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank all my friends, my dad, my mom, everybody that made it possible. So many people's helped me along the way, and it makes a big difference.
Yep,
it really does.
Well, Dave, it was a real pleasure having you on today. It was a pleasure hearing your story, and you're a wealth of information and a fierce competitor. So I'm sure after you get that doubles ring and that handicap ring at the Grand, we'll have you back on the show.
We'll have you back on.
You'll be talking about how you went on a doubles long run and, Matt Bartholomew who and, that kind of thing. But, hey, we can all dream, right? We got to put it forward.
I'd also like to thank my girlfriend Christy. She's been there since I was sick, and just really helped me out so much, and means the world.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful. Well, Dave, we'll definitely see you at a shoot soon, I'm sure. On the leaderboard, maybe in the option money. So that'll be there.
I'm heading out to Middletown next week, and then I believe I'm gonna hit the Empire Grand.
Okay.
And some Ely'sburg shoots are coming up. So and I'm also a dealer for Dead Pair gear now. I'm gonna be.
I did see that. I did see Gooch posted that you're a new dealer for Dead Pair.
Setting up at a bunch of different shoots this year. So if you need any gun cases, shirts, hats, what have you,
gloves.
I'm excited about that. I actually, I called Gooch the other day, and I had told him, I said, my Americase is wore out, and just completely. And I said, I complimented him. I said, this is an awesome looking case you got. I need to get one of these things. I got one, and he sent it to me, and I haven't opened it up yet because it just came in the mail, but I'm excited for it. Because, my old case was just beat up, and, what he did with that, I think it's a really cool design. And I think if somebody's looking for a traveling case, I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
And
you didn't open it yet though, Zach?
I haven't yet. No,
you should, because I think there's a bill in there, because I picked up 2 cases from him, and I told him to bill you.
Oh, well, hey, I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Ricky.
Actually, Dave, since you brought that up, I'd like to thank Gooch too. He donated 2 cases, one to the all-around, one to the overall winner at the Southern Grand, and I was fortunate I won both of them. And he swapped me out and got me a combo case for my son. I'm gonna give it to Tyler for college, and then gave me a just an over/under one for my sporting gun too. So that was cool. And I got him. He said, "Hey, I'll ship them to you." And then he's like, "Hey, I got all these sold down here." I said, "I'm not worried about it, Gooch. I'll get it from you." Well, I was teaching in Indiana last week, and I met him over at King and Gun Club, his home club there.
Sure.
And he came over and we talked for a little bit, and he showed me some of the stuff. He is coming out with shoes.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be a Hey Dude style.
Hey, dudes.
They kind of look like that. No copyright infringement. But when he put the Facebook post up of these shoes, I said, "Hey, you don't need to name them the trap shoes or whatever." I said, "Those are the Gucci sliders."
Gucci sliders.
I said, "Those are the Gucci sliders," and I Facebook liked it. I got like 19 likes on that post. So I mean, anybody that thinks they need to be named Gucci sliders, just send it in. It's up for update. So
Mike's turned out to be one of my best buddies, and we talked earlier that I was runner up a clay target twice, The first time I was runner up, it was to Mike Gooch, and it was that was when 04, I guess it was. That's how that's the first time I ever met him, and we've been good friends ever since.
Do you know how long that shoot off was? How many birds you went?
I don't. I think it was probably like 300-400 maybe.
Yeah, back then, Zach, most of them all went 300-400.
Yeah, that's the zone, 300-400.
Yeah. I mean, except for the shortest one ever, that Dave Burlett one I was in, he went 75 straight. He was the only one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I went 200 and I missed, and then Mike Blaisdell was the last one to miss, and Burlett broke 75 and won, and then I went another 200 and some. That was in 2000, because I won the doubles that year, because I wasn't going to shoot any more. The next day, I was only going to shoot 100 and then shoot off the doubles and worry about the doubles championship. And we went out to shoot, and the guy was shooting off against missed on the first post. And I was like, oh, I got a chance. So
there's a chance.
Yeah, it was, but no, that's awesome, though. So we're happy for you. Check him out, folks at the shoots. Now, will you be at Ohio State shoot? Will you be coming over there?
I'll be there, yeah. I'll be there. I don't think I'll be vending there. Gooch will be there, but, just see him. But
hey, just set up out front. Right out front
set up in front of his, yeah. Yeah.
Throw a little table up.
Ohio's definite. That's one of my favorite shoots of the year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, we'll be there. We'll have the back fence shootout this year, folks.
Can't wait.
We'll be recording content and having a good time. And, we're rolling out of here. Thank you all for listening. Happy Friday. This is an extra 6 minutes after we were trying to close the episode. So that's called bonus time. That's like when those listener questions.
That's like twofers.
The twofer. So that was all extra free time for your ears. So hope you enjoyed listening today. We'll catch you next Friday. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Tell your friends, bring somebody out shooting, and have a good time. So
thanks, everyone.
We appreciate the love.
Thank you. Break them all, guys.
Absolutely. We'll see you.
And the Trap Talk podcast is brought to you in part by
RM Shooting Clinics. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. If you want to shoot hundreds, give Ricky a call today. Zach Nannini Financial. We believe in putting people first.